Nnamdi Kanu, the self-acclaimed freedom fighter and leader of secessionist organization IPOB, demanding the Igbo ethnic group breaks away from Nigeria to form an independent Republic of Biafra, was arrested while abroad and extradited back to Nigeria. But could his detention change the course of Biafra tension? What are the implications on Nigeria's security challenges? Will he be given a fair and transparent trial, or will any infringement ignite a revolt in the Southeast? With us on SaharaTV today to take a critical look at these issues is Okechukwu Nwanguma, Ikenga, the Executive Director at Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center. Welcome to the program.
Thank you and good morning.
The fugitive leader of the prominent Biafra secessionist group, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, had been arrested and extradited to Nigeria to face trial. What's your view on the concerns in some quarters that this is more likely to inflame separatist unrest in the Southeast Nigeria? Your take on this, sir?
Well, I have made the point that separatist agitation in Nigeria is not new, but they are achieved they became more stringent, under this regime. Separatist agitation in Igbo and is obviously not going to end with him, even if the federal government decides to eliminate him. I have made the point that, and by the way, separatist agitation is going on elsewhere, in Southwest, in the Middle Belt, in the South. So it's virtually a Nigerian problem, and it's a response to something, and that something is the way government is running this country. So separatist agitation, Nnamdi Kanu, Igbo, all these are symptoms of a major problem, a more serious problem, which is bad governance. Well, I mean, Nnamdi Kanu, anybody who is charged, accused of an offense or a crime is entitled to fair hearing. So I expect that Nnamdi Kanu should be given fair hearing, he should be given fair trial. I do know that some of the people who are agitating for separation may have engaged in one form of excess or the other, but those are not the issues. These are responses. Unless this government is run in such a way that accommodates the interests and aspiration of every part of this country, unless every part of this country, especially the youth, are made to see a future in this country, unless this government provides that vision that young people in Nigeria will see and believe that there's a future for them, unless this government is able to inspire, restore trust in government and inspire patriotism. Arresting Nnamdi Kanu, invading the home of Igbo, all these will continue and it will not change anything. Government must engage in dialogue to understand what these people are complaining about. There is deep-rooted grievances all over the country. And this government's failure to be sensitive to the plight of the people, the complaints of the people, is what is responsible for all this. Government must do more of engagement. If you kill Nnamdi Kanu today, another Nnamdi Kanu, or even a more dangerous one, will emerge. So government should respond to the problem, not address the symptom. And even in addressing the symptom, they're addressing it with the wrong tactic and strategy.
Talking about the wrong tactics and strategies, the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Malami, triumphantly announced the rearrest of the IPOB leader, but left out crucial details that ended up confusing the public, fraught with vague remarks on important issues on how Mr. Kanu was brought back to Nigeria. So questions are still being raised. Let me get your view on this, because many have also raised concerns about the legitimacy of the procedure adopted in bringing the IPOB leader back to Nigeria due to too little or official information on the matter. I mean, what's your view on this?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was embarrassed, because we are used to hearing Lai Mohammed, talking the way he talks that embarrasses this country, I mean, I don't know whether I want to talk about Lai Mohammed or the Attorney General, whose credentials as a lawyer has come to question. Lai Mohammed had gloating over how the security and intelligence agencies spent 2 years trying to track Nnamdi Kanu. And I was what immediately came to my mind was, I wish that this government would put on the same determination in seeking out somebody in foreign land to dealing with people who are committing crime in this country, bandits, terrorists, herdsmen who have been going about killing people all over this country, and I've not seen the same level of determination with which they, tracked Nnamdi Kanu and brought him from outside this country. Whereas there are criminals, marauding across this country, killing people. We see people like Sheikh Gumi, going to cavort with these bandits. Government is busy negotiating with and paying ransom to criminals who are killing people, destroying homes in this country, and I don't see that same level of determination or commitment to address crime. But they're busy going after people agitating for self-determination. Yes, as I said earlier, the people agitating for self-determination may have engaged in one exercise or the other, but then the most dangerous criminals are the bandits, the terrorists, the herdsmen who are killing people, and government is not exhibiting the same level of determination and commitment to address insecurity and crime. But again, concerning the legality, I think I want to leave this to experts on international diplomacy. But from what I've heard, I think that there is something wrong. I mean, Nnamdi Kanu, we know he was based in the UK, in London, and to bring him here will require some legal procedure, including extradition procedure. But of course, the UK government has said he wasn't arrested in the UK. It's not clear yet where he was arrested. We have had Kenya, we've had Ethiopia, we've had Brazil. So until it is clear, until the picture is clearer, to be difficult for anybody to actually comment on the legality. We cannot now start to talk about the legality because he wasn't arrested in the UK. And the UK government has also offered to assist, to offer assistance to Nnamdi Kanu if they get the full picture of how he was arrested and where he was, arrested from.
Now, let me take you back a bit. Earlier on in your comment, you talked about you expecting the same determination from the federal government with regards to dealing with other issues that are germane and of serious security concerns. One question that has troubled a lot of Nigerians is, why is this government not as swift, decisive, and methodical in dealing with these insurgents, the bandits and kidnappers, as well as the Fulani herdsmen? Why is this government not as decisive as far as tackling those challenges are concerned?
Well, I didn't hear you quite clearly. It's breaking, but I imagine that you were asking why government is not as decisive in, why government is resorting to high-handed approach in dealing with, people agitating for self-determination as opposed to people perpetrating crime. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing has become clear, that President Buhari has a mindset, and that mindset is one of ruthlessness. Deployment of excessive violence, state violence, to deal with people who are protesting. This government has no respect for the rule of law. It has no respect for human rights. It has no respect even for public opinion. So it sees, and I also know that those advising this government are incompetent, just as the man at the head of affairs is incompetent. people in this government are not thinking at all. They are misadvising this president. It's either they are misadvising him or that he's not taking the right advice. Because the truth is that everybody who has spoken, who is following developments in this country, have come to the conclusion that the only way to address, crime and agitations, restiveness, is to engage. The use of military force alone, because you see, crime and insecurity are also a reflection of the level of social development, the economy. When people are not employed, when people are not engaged meaningfully, when education is destroyed, people find it difficult to put food on the table. It has a natural way of increasing crime. People resort to any means in order to survive. When people are when people have a sense of injustice, people feel that they are marginalized, they are neglected, they resort to, protests. And so what government should do is to address the root cause of insecurity, of crime, which is socio-economic. Address corruption, address unemployment, address poverty, engage, negotiate. But this government prefers to use violence, military, deployment only as a means. And this will not end insecurity. And that is why I'm saying that this government is not a thinking government. People in this, maximum force, violence. They don't even think that people need to be talked to. They don't believe that they should talk to people, and that is what is missing. And unless this government, changes its tactic and realizes the need to engage and talk with people, government needs to negotiate. If government is able to negotiate with criminals, why would they not negotiate with people, agitating over, political issues? So I think it has to do with the mindset of the president and the quality of people in this government.
Let me also get your reaction on this. There's been mixed reactions among, the Southeasterners, the Igbos themselves, on the recent arrest and the extradition of Nnamdi Kanu. Considering his fierce monologues on Radio Biafra, the taunting of the president, targeting ethnic groups and calling for armed uprising, it has also drawn, mixed reactions even among the Igbos themselves. And considering the fact that Igbo leaders themselves, the Igbo political leaders themselves, don't want to tackle the problems because every day is a picnic for them as they continue their looting spree and they're sending their kids overseas to universities, and they themselves go to overseas for medical treatment. What's the reactions, or what's the view, or what are the concerns of the Igbos themselves at this point in time?
Well, one thing that I have made clear in most of my interventions on this Igbo question is that, and it was this, there's the absence of, a credible, informed, selfless, and patriotic leadership in Igbo land that advances the collective cause of the Igbo people. A majority of those who parade themselves as leaders in Igbo land are self-centered, illiterates, and also people who are unfit to occupy political offices. So there is that vacuum of political leadership, and it was that vacuum, that space that they created, that Nnamdi Kanu came to fill. And expectedly, there is also there's a division among Igbo elites and Igbo people about Nnamdi Kanu and the cause he represents. There are those who believe that Nnamdi Kanu has a good cause, but that his approach has not been, has been counterproductive. The way the way he goes about, the way he speaks, the kind of directives he issues to his supporters. So there is this debates around these issues. But I think that ultimately what is needed is for Igbo intellectuals, to come together and begin to look for a way to address this leadership vacuum in Igbo land, so that we don't have, we don't create a space for people to occupy, people who may not get it right to occupy. So that is a challenge for Igbo intellectuals to come together and find a way to address the leadership question in Igbo land. There's no doubt that Igbos have been badly treated in this country. They have been marginalized, they have been neglected. But the question is, what is the best way to go about this? And again, like I said, ultimately, if we have a good leader at the national level who understands what leadership means, all he needs to do is to engage rather than use force. So that, for me, is the issue.
It will be a remiss if I did not get to ask you this question with regards to the recent DSS ransacking and midnight raid carried out on Sunday Igboho's residence. And they addressed the press conference yesterday and saying that, demanding that Sunday Igboho turned himself up. What's your reactions to this, sir?
Can you say that again? It's I didn't clearly get your.
All right, let me rephrase that. Sunday Igboho's residence was yesterday at midnight was raided by the DSS. What's your reaction to his being declared wanted at this point in time?
Well, I don't know exactly what crime that Sunday Igboho has committed, except that he's agitating for self-determination for the Yoruba people. Self-determination, as everybody knows or ought to know, is a right under international law. Yes, so, and like I said, it's either a case of cowardice or discriminatory approach to fighting crime in quote. And I say this because the same security agencies who are either not able to go after criminals or have simply ignored those criminals are able to. I'm not aware that Sunday Igboho has committed any crime that warrant that level of expedition, a military type expedition that will lead to shooting and arrest of his family members and parade of people. Well, we need to hear from them what offense he has committed, and we are watching to see how they're going to, just like we are watching the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, we are watching to see how they will, deal with this. What charges they're going to bring against Sunday Igboho. But I mean, like I said, it doesn't. I fail to understand why our security agencies resort to such disproportionate level of violence in going after people who are not, where they display arms. I don't know whether those arms were actually recovered from Sunday Igboho. But of course, why not justifying crime by anybody? I also think that we need to see that security agencies are neutral in the way they deal with groups from different parts of the country. Rather than focusing on those agitating for self-determination, they should go more after those who are committing crime in this country.
So finally, Mr. Okechukwu Nwanguma, given the complex issues that are involved, I hope you are still hearing me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Given the complex issues that are involved with regards to this secessionist agitations, and the government's handling of the matter so far. What is the best way out for the government at this point in time to ensure that there will not be an infringement on the rights of these individuals, and to prevent a reignition of a revolt, so to speak, in the country, as well as perhaps you can also give us your perspective on the on what you feel the implications of these recent raids, arrests will have on Nigeria's security challenges.
Well, I think that it's difficult really to, we are in a democracy. This government has not acted in such a way as to clearly convince us that they have respect, that they have imbibed the norms of democracy, you know. Because I mean, when people cannot freely express themselves, when people come out to protest peacefully and the government unleashes armed security operatives on them to shoot at them, when the media is not free, you know, because I mean, you know, freedom of expression and free speech are inseparable from democracy. And any government that does not respect these clearly cannot be said to be democratic. So the first thing is for us to find a way to get this government to understand, to understand the needs, to respect the norms and practices of democracy, which is allowing an open space for people to express themselves in a non-violent way, seeing the need to talk with the people, you know, engage with the people. I mean, it's always better to talk than to fight. Government is bringing war to the people rather than engaging them in discussion. So I think that what is needed is for government to begin to engage with different groups. It's not cowardice, you know, and this government, there's this arrogant posture of this government that we cannot talk with them. But that for me is the only way to go. Negotiate with people, talk with people, understand their grievances and begin to address them. Of course, we know that government cannot solve all the problems, but when you let people understand your challenges and show that you're committed to even addressing the challenges, you know, the problems that people face, it's easier to reduce these unrest and these agitations. But this government is, all it knows is brute force, which cannot solve anything. So, and I'm sure that people who are resolved cannot be conquered. Nigerians cannot be intimidated, they cannot be conquered. So this government had better realized the need to engage rather than fight the people. You cannot say you're a government elected by the people and yet you cannot listen to the people. You cannot, you know, all you know is how to suppress them, repression. That is not the way to run a democracy. So unless this government imbibes the spirit of democracy and begins to engage with the people rather than confront the people, we can make any progress. And I hope also that the international community will see the need to also intervene. I'm happy that the ECOWAS court has already given a ruling asking this government not to prosecute anybody for using Twitter. You know, so it shows the concerns that the international government has over what is going on in this country. And this government is not a listening one. If it is, it wouldn't allow this thing to happen.